go. First of all, we want to do a thank you all for attending our 2022 D&I short course, Human-Centered Design for Implementation and Impact. If you have not already, please help yourself to breakfast. It'll be out for a little while, so you can get seconds. We're going to be starting right now. You can follow us on Twitter and UW-ICTR D&I Launchpad. Throughout this day, we have a very busy agenda. You can see all the materials for the day in the folders at your table. It will give you the whole list of all the different activities and sessions and all the different speakers. If you need or want more information about those speakers, please check our website. There's a QR code in there. Also, for later in the day when we have the interactive activities, you can find the worksheets for those sessions in the back of your folders as well. Also this year, we are going to be having a couple of gallery walls. You can see them up here and in the back over there. And if you have questions and thoughts that relating to D&I that maybe don't get addressed during the session, but they're emerging, they're top of mind, you really are hoping that they will get addressed and talked about, we are hoping that you will write them on Post-it notes that are at your table, and then you can stick them up on there, and we will try to compile them and include them in our emerging topics session that is happening tomorrow. So we're very excited, and I'm going to welcome Dr. Jane Mahoney up to the stage to continue introducing our short course today. As you have different questions or thoughts, please come find me or Dr. Mahoney or anyone on the team, and we'll be happy to direct you today. Thank you very much. Dr. Jane Mahoney.
Thanks, Felice, and welcome everyone. We're just so delighted to get this one underway and have it in person. That's wonderful. And I think every year I feel like each short course is getting better. So I think this one is going to be even better than last year's. And just so delighted to get this started. So a thank you to the funders, which are NCATS, which has provided funding for our CTSA and the Wisconsin Partnership Program. Also like to give a huge thanks to all the volunteers helping put this together. And most importantly, there's two key members of our D&I Launchpad team, Felice, you just met, and Rachel. Rachel at the registration table, thank you guys so much. They did a wonderful job assembling this all. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge the land we're on. Dijope is the name that the Ho-Chunk and other American Indians have called the Madison area for thousands of years, meaning 4 lakes in the Ho-Chunk language. So please acknowledge with us that this university is situated upon traditional territories. The Ho-Chunk Nation call this region home, and this place where we are meeting is known as Dijope. Villagers and their agricultural fields thrived here along the banks of the lakes, along the Wisconsin Rock, Illinois Fox, Baraboo, Trempealeau, La Crosse, and Black Rivers, and all their tributaries. After the War of 1812, the United States, acting through a citizen paramilitary, removed Ho-Chunk people and resettled the area without the Ho-Chunk Nation's consent. This resulted in the 1825 Treaty of Peace, where the government recognized the Ho-Chunk Nation and its sovereignty over 10.5 million acres of land in what is now southwest Wisconsin and northern Illinois. The treaty also promised that these lands would not be entered without the nation's permission. The Black Hawk War of 1832 led to the 1832 and 1837 treaties signed for the land upon which this university is built, first ceding title to 6.8 million acres and then all of their territory to the U.S. government. So we recognize the enduring presence and the territorial claim of Aboriginal peoples on this land, and we give thanks to the Ho-Chunk Nation and the other 11 Native nations whose territory now lies within the state of Wisconsin. We extend our thanks to the plants and animals, the water and soil that form our greater community of life, and we recognize the enduring presence and territorial claim of Aboriginal peoples on this land. So our D&I Launchpad team welcomes you today. Our collective background includes clinical engineering, business, and education expertise. And I think we have here today Dr. Heidi Brown, myself, Rachel Malign, Andrew Quanbeck, Felice Resnik, and Mandira Sahal Muldowney, our assistant director. So we provide education in this short course, being our sort of premier education events, but also other workshops designed for dissemination tools, consultation on research support or research design for grants, projects, manuscripts, and aspects of implementation support through an evidence to implementation award, toolkits that we help support development of, and development of other materials. And we are part of the Institute for Clinical and Translational Research, whose goal is to create an environment that transforms research into a continuum from investigation through discovery and to translation into real-life community practice, thereby linking even the most basic research into improvements in human health. And ICTR is nested within the University of Wisconsin-Madison. For those of you who are here new to coming to this campus, or for those of you who may not know all the interesting facts here, I think one of the biggest, most important interesting facts, since winter is coming, is the last one, is that in 2019 classes were canceled due to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Our 2022 short course, we have enrolled 120 attendees coming from 29 institutions, 12 states, and many, if not most, of the departments on campus. About half are participants for a first time, and most people are rating themselves as beginner D&I skills. So we welcome you. We target the course or develop the course so that it's appropriate both for beginner, intermediate, and even for those who are moving towards advanced. It will provide some new and interesting ways of thinking about things and putting things together. So just to give you a preview to our agenda, we are going to start off with Dr. Enola Proctor and talking about implementation outcomes and the use of those. And then we'll have a short break and then have a panel that will illustrate applying evaluations and understanding how implementation outcomes play a role in understanding impact. And then after that, we'll have an interactive session. The interactive sessions are to give you a chance to apply the concepts using a worksheet to a research scenario or an implementation sort of scenario that's been developed. So these give you a chance to think more deeply about using implementation outcomes and then think about questions you may have. And we'll follow that interactive, we'll end the interactive with a chance for Q&A. Then we have lunch when we'll have an opportunity to do some networking with campus and community organizations with representatives joining us. In the afternoon, we'll turn to looking at human-centered design with Dr. Erin Lyon. And that we'll follow that with a panel that illustrates some of the concepts of using human-centered design to advance innovation. Another short break, and then our last interactive for the day will be to dive in and think about applying human-centered design to some actual scenarios, research scenarios, followed by just a report out and a chance for last questions. So why do we do D&I research? Well, we spend a lot of money annually on health research, and yet we don't do a very good job of getting interventions out into practice, with only 14%. It's been estimated actually getting into practice, and we don't do a very good job of actually getting them out quickly. So this stresses the importance of looking beyond publication to impact. Key definitions for us that we'll be using today is dissemination, the targeted distribution of information and intervention materials to a specific public health or clinical practice audience. So it's getting materials out and distributed to the audience and tailored to those audiences. Implementation is use of strategies to adopt and integrate evidence-based interventions and change practice patterns within specific settings. And sustainability is change that has become integrated or sort of mainstreamed into a way of working rather than something that's just added on. Our goal is to increase our understanding of how to effectively and equitably get strategies, interventions, and programs from research into practice. So D&I sciences are answering the questions: how do we decrease the time it takes to get research into practice? Something less than 17 years. How do we increase success of implementation, dissemination, and sustainability? And how do we define success? And how do we bridge the gap to equitably translate those interventions into real-world settings? We use the model of the integrated framework for D&I sciences, which really looks at, this is the translational research spectrum, this pie of 5 pieces representing the spectrum of research from basic science research all the way up to translational research and public health research. And what we would like to stress is that within every stage of research, D&I sciences can help by not only conducting that stage in a more fruitful way to enhance ultimate impact, but also help with moving research from one stage to another. And this applies at all stages, not just clinical implementation, public health. So this occurs between and within each stage of research. I'd like to now introduce our 2 distinguished guest faculty. Dr. Enola Proctor is the Shanti K. Kinduka Distinguished Professor Emeritus at Washington University in St. Louis. And the National Institutes of Mental Health has supported her research and training grants for 29 consecutive years. She's really pioneered the field of dissemination and implementation sciences, leading teams to be able to distinguish, clearly define, develop taxonomies and advance conceptual, linguistic, and methodologic clarity in the field. She directs the Implementation Research Institute, a training program in implementation science funded by the National Institute for Mental Health. And Dr. Proctor was a member of the inaugural class of fellows in the American Academy of Social Work and Social Welfare. She has received several national awards, has advised the NIH and the World Health Organization on several implementation science projects in low and middle income countries, including current work on COVID vaccine implementation. We're very grateful and thank you so much, Dr. Proctor, for being here today. We're going to learn a lot. Our other guest faculty is Dr. Lyon, who's a professor in the University of Washington's Department of Psychiatry, where he serves as the co-director of the UW Alacrity Center and the School Mental Health Assessment, Research, and Training SMART Center, both of which leverage methods from human-centered design, to support effective implementation of evidence-based practices in mental and behavioral health. He's also the director of RISE, which is the Research Institute for Implementation Science, and he's associate editor for the journal Implementation Research and Practice. Dr. Lyon's research focuses generally on increasing the accessibility, efficiency, and effectiveness of interventions for children, adolescents, and families. So we're very grateful to Dr. Lyon for being here today, and really look forward to a great day of discussion and learning. So I am going to now turn it over to Dr. Proctor for our first talk.